Moussa, welcome.
Yep.
Thank
Mm-hmm.
you for coming on to the Muzikstan interview. Um,
Beautiful.
it's great to have you here. You did a wonderful show for us last year. I mean, for the people who don't know, I've known you for many years, Moussa. We were saying it was. I always remembered you in parties, being the guy in Brixton bringing all the instruments,
Yeah.
and it was lovely. And you were the guy who used to bring all these homemade instruments and get everybody playing. Um, those were good times, huh?
You were amazing. You were amazing. That's like many years ago, man.
Many years
Long time,
ago.
man.
A
Talking
long,
about 16, 15 years now. Like, yeah, long
yeah.
time.
So how? Let's start with your set at Music Stand. Did you enjoy it?
It was so great. It just was amazing, man. It was like one of something that we prefer to be doing every day.
Oh,
Which I know is not possible, but hope. Let's cross fingers. You never know.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you're a musician by trade, aren't you? What have you been up to recently since I've seen you? You've been traveling around
Well,
a bit.
in one way, I will say I produce music, which I don't know much, but yeah, I got the idea of producing music, like to start the rhythm, the song for some, the song, put the song together, give the idea of what people can sing on it. But when it becoming mastering and arrange it, I had to take it to a different studio. But I've been doing that by going to different country. Like I was in Spain for recording. Wow, to play and record, but also help to put the music because someone who don't know the instrument I play, when they have the instrument recording in a different place, they cannot match it to what they want. So I had to be there and tell
Hmm.
them this is where it start and it stop here and it start there, it finish here. Yeah, so I was in Spain for that. I was in Poland for performing, France. Yeah, so many different places. So yeah.
Amazing. So you're keeping busy. You're a musician by trade, but you also make most of your instruments. Is that correct?
Wow, let's say all of the instrument I play, because the one I don't play, I don't make them. But any instrument I play,
Yeah.
I make them, which is like it. Because here I go a bass guitar. Many times, anytime someone walk in and say, "Are you making them or are you selling them?" I say, "I don't sell it, I don't make it. I buy the bass guitar for my band, so it's
Yeah.
different." But because I got it here in the shop, so people get confused. So yeah, the kora, the balafon, the djembe, talking drums, calabasses, seka, yeah, all these things I make them, and then yeah, I play all of them.
And how did you learn making these instruments? I mean, maybe tell the people a little bit about your musical background and where you came from.
I came from a French-speaking country, very hot. West Africa, the Mali and Burkina Faso. So Mali is a separate country. Burkina Faso is also a separate country, but they are neighbors. They used to be one. They used to be together, and then obviously we know what happened next before they become two different countries.
Hmm.
Yeah, so my mom from Mali, my dad from Burkina Faso, and I grew up in Mali, and I moved to Burkina Faso. So yeah, we are Griot people. Who are Griot people? The Griot people are people who we are healers. We say it that way because when I say healers, we are people who bring peace. We are people who bring people back together. We are also people who can help someone to understand their problem easily. And when you help someone to understand here, they call them what did they call them here?
Like
Like
a therapist.
yeah, there you go. So we are like them. We are therapists in Africa where you bring your problem, we listen to your problem because why that happening sometime is it nobody allowed to talk to kings straight away directly. You had to go through the griots. So your problem had to go through the griot. It doesn't matter anyhow, is it? You had to tell the griot what you have and it had to be the truth. If the griot say no, I don't believe what you're saying, the king never gonna listen to you.
Hmm.
So the griot people used to be we are not guarded by the king and we don't guard the king, but we help the king to decide.
So are you? Are you like messengers?
There you go. We are like messengers. We are like text messages, post office, because we have to go to people's house to check on them.
Wow.
And then when you have something to say also, you have to come through us first, and we had to move to the king or the queen. And the same time is how do we say? Well, the Griot people we just not have a good sleep. Because every 5 seconds someone is outside your door with some problems. So yeah, so we are Griot people. We make instruments. We play. We help people to do what they need to understand. And the same time, the griot, oh wow, it's no, I don't know where to say. It's not a tradition thing. It's not something everyone can be part of. You have to born a griot.
Oh, you have to be born a griot.
Yeah, so you cannot just be a griot, and we cannot create a griot party
Okay.
because it doesn't make any sense. Because
Yeah.
if we say griot party, it had to be anyone who is there had to be griot, which everyone cannot be griot.
Yeah.
So yeah, the griot people, we are also same time travelers. Because if you are there to bring peace, you are there to make music for people, you have to be in different places also. So we used to be traveling a lot through that. And let's talk about why we call ourselves griot and why we're doing music. So the music part were chosen by the king. The king choose who to do music for him. And how the griot starts? The griot starts by a traveler, like I said earlier, because obviously we were a traveler, but we were not traveling because we were a griot. No, we were in A. We feel like wow, life is not good here. Everyone is in the farm. This lazy guy just no want to go to farm. He said maybe I can do something else which is no farming. I'm gonna cross the border. I'm gonna travel from here to the next village, and hopefully something else will be there which is not what my family are doing. So by crossing, he crossed a village where he need food. He was so tired. He want to drink water. He needs some food. He just so tired. He went to the village. He want to stay in that village, but he needs to talk to someone because you are a stranger in the village. He met a guy who say, "Who are you? What are you doing in our land?" He said, "Sorry, I'm not doing anything in your land. I'm just crossing. But because I'm so tired and so thirsty, I need water." This nice guy helped this guy, the traveler, with some food, some drink, and he stayed there. Slowly, slowly, it's getting dark. The king is not there. It's getting dark. The traveler asked the guy in the village. He said, "Hey man, sorry, I'm so tired. Can I sleep here?" He said, "No, no, 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 no. You cannot sleep outside. I will give you this room to sleep." But inside the room were instruments, and this guy never see that instrument. He want to touch it, but anytime he want to touch the instrument, he hear a voice, which were the guard of the king. The king guarded, like people who guard the king. You are a stranger, you cannot come to someone's house and see something and trying to bang on it. So he keep on hearing this voice, but he don't say anything. He keep on hearing voice telling him, "You cannot do this, you cannot do this," but he can't say. So he asked the voice, "What can I do for you to allow me to touch this?" He said, "The only thing you can do is to sing." But the voice didn't know say this guy can sing because he also never see people singing nicely.
Mm-hmm.
The guy starting singing. And the more he's singing, he's enjoying the voice, his own voice, because he also surprised himself. He never sing. He didn't even know what he meant, but he want to try the thing. So he started making some crazy voice. And the more louder he's going, the king were in a different village, visiting another village, because he's a king who taking care of two villages.
Yeah.
So the king hear the voice, and the king said, "Where this voice is coming from?" No. The king started following the voice all the way back to his own village, and the voice were coming to his village. So he went there, he saw this guy. He said, "Who are you? And how come you managed to make this voice out of your mouth?" He said, the guy, he don't even know. He don't know what sound he was making. He just want to try the instrument. So anyway, let's shortcut the story. That is how this guy become a king, a griot, because the king had to now say, "Listen, you're not going anywhere. You say you are traveling to somewhere. Your family do farming and you want to do something else. Don't worry. Here you don't do nothing. Just sing for me, I pay you. I like your voice. Do it for me." And he said, "What do you mean do it for you? Or you pay me? Like, how are you going to pay me?" He said, "Don't worry about the payment. We'll talk about that later. But now me and you, we work together. Wherever I go, I'll take you there." If you see I'm doing something is not right, please direct me. I need someone like you with me. And the guy said, okay. Wow. So I need to go tell my family, say I'm coming to stay in your village. He said, no, you don't have family. I'm now your family. He said, what do you mean? I have family. I have my dad and my mom. He said, don't worry. We'll talk about all this later. The king asked him, what is your name? Let's say, example, I say, my name is Musa. I say, oh, don't worry. You don't call Musa anyway. Because me, I have already my names here I give to people which the villagers know. To be part of the community, I will call you Koroleko. So he become Koroleko. And when he go back to his village to visit his people, they call his name, he say, no, I'm Koroleko. So he's not part of that family anymore. He become the family of the king, and which become the Griot. Because the family, the name the king give, that only give to Griot people. So that is how the beginning of the Griot become.
Wow.
Connecting to kings.
So it's like that's the traditional. It's like an old story. Do you think there's a lot of truth in it? Is it like one of those
Wow.
old mystical stories? I mean, how old do you think we're talking? Hundreds of years or?
Wow. Many, many years ago, because this is when we don't know paper, we don't know books, we don't have no idea
Wow.
what's called police. We don't know what is schools.
Mm.
People were doing things based on dreams. So whatever they see on their dream, they turn that to a reality. They turn it to something, meaning something.
And the kings were regional kings, weren't they? It wasn't like a king of the
Yeah, yeah.
country. It was a king of this.
No,
Those.
no, no, no. Like example, my real dad, he's the king of the griot in my village. I just posted a video of him last 2 weeks ago where he was singing for the village and giving his message to the griot people what we should do next. So yeah, for me, I cannot say it's a true story, but because it's a story which the griot see themselves in there very much.
Yeah.
Because why the griot were so connected to the king in the first place? Obviously, someone invites someone.
Yeah.
And it's obvious, it's a really nice connection because if the griot have the power to say no to the king, which we know nobody can do that, so the only griot can say no to the king.
Yeah.
Even if the king sees someone, the king say, okay, I want to marry this person. You can never marry that person out of the griot, how you call it? The griot need to know.
Needs to
And you
go
have to share that
with
with the
blessing.
griot first. Yeah.
So yeah, because that's an interesting thing that I remember you said at Muzikstan was the griot is kind of serves the people and
Yeah.
is in between the king and the people. And if the griot decides yes or no, right? So
Yeah.
if people say, I don't know, we want to farm this land, and if the king says no, the griot can decide. Well,
The griot can
yeah,
say yes.
that's amazing. So there's a
Yeah, the
definite
griot can
connection.
cancel the king agree, like whatever the king say no or whatever, the griot can say no. You're never gonna hear the king speaking louder. The king always speaking quiet in the ear of someone to
Mm,
pass to the griot. Or the griot will go straight and listen to what the king say or the queen, so the people not hear it. So anytime the king say this to the griot change it because the griot will be what the king say. No, it doesn't make sense. So the griot straight away use a few seconds to change that, to make that up, to change that whatever you say. If it's not right for the griot, he change it. So every time you will see they go to each other, they listen to each other, and yeah,
so that was then. Obviously,
yeah.
lots changed now. How are griots seen in society now back home for you, and
Wow.
what are the griots
The thing
like?
is like because of now we are a bit open and very modern now, and people having a problem to be griot because of the if you find someone you love, you want to be married to, and you say you are a griot, they don't gonna allow you to marry that person. They don't allow that person to marry you. So for that reason, so many griot people now change their names. They are not griot
Because
anymore, and they don't want
griots
to be
can
griot.
only marry griots, right?
Yeah, so griots only marry griots people.
You said that griots they can't work, they couldn't work either, right? So
Wow, it's the population didn't want the griot to work because if the griot working, he don't gonna get time for the king. Maybe
and
the time the griot is in the farm working, the king have a message to share with people, and the griot is not there. So because they want the griot to be around the king 24/7, the king is not working, the griot is not working. Because
yeah,
if the griot say, okay, I got something to do, the king gonna need someone around him, and
yeah.
it's not gonna be possible.
It's fascinating. So you grew up obviously over there. How who did you grow up with, and were they griots? Were they practicing griots, and was there music
Wow.
in your life at a young age?
Mm. Well, the griot, my great grandparents, even if you cannot really go further, I know my grandpa, which is my mom father, his dad used to be a singer. But the guy I grew up with, which is my mom dad, my grandpa, he's a griot, but he don't want to do music.
Okay,
The same thing like we were saying now. Some griot people decide to move themselves out of it.
and he was one of them.
Yeah, so he said, listen, I know the tradition, healing tradition things because he were a healer, but he do this tradition healing. So he decided to not touch instruments in his house, no instruments.
So you weren't allowed instruments in
I
that.
don't allow. And also, I didn't get a chance to grow up like the other children who can just sit in an instrument and touch it or go around music. I didn't allow to be any party. I didn't allow to go anywhere. So it were like the king and the griot because I were there for him.
Yeah.
Anytime he needed me to do something, I had to do it exactly.
So
So he was sending me to places.
you were like
You see, so it's the story
a
we just
mini
talking
griot.
about.
Yeah. So when did
Yeah.
it change? When did you start to find music, and how?
Well, I had to run. I had to run away from him because the reason why I ran away because as I said on the beginning of the conversation, I grew up in Mali, which all my mom family they're from Mali. So I grew up with my granddad. But when I was 11 years old, which is in 1993, I said, listen, I don't know who is my dad, and I need to find my dad. I only grew up with them. I was 3 months when I was with my granddad. To 11 years later, I said, listen, they say it's not my dad because I was calling him dad. But one day my mom said to me, he's not your dad. Even the lady who say I'm your mom is a lady who I knew, but I didn't know that she were my mom because she never called me son. She just called me, hey, beautiful boy, hey, young boy, hey, beautiful boy. So I didn't know. But the thing is, like, it's a crazy story if we want to go too far. I'm one of these kids who didn't know my parents because of the tradition.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and my dad were put together by my grandma. And the only way to able to get away with it is when one day my mom come, he say, hey, young boy, da 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 da, I'm your mom. I was like, no, you are my sister. She said, no, I'm your mom. I said, no, you can't be my mom. If you are my mom, how this guy is my dad? He said, no, it's not your dad, it's your grandpa. So she tell me now where to find my dad. That is how I had to run to get to my dad. But before move from my grandpa, I know the idea of building instruments. I never touched them, I never played them, but I see people doing it in my mom family. I see all of them do music instrument. So when I moved to my dad, that is where I learned how to build the balafon and the kora. But I already got the idea of how all these things were
Because
working before.
your dad made instruments, right? Did he teach you, or did you just watch? How
Oh
did you
my God,
learn?
no. So that is another thing. You know, over here again, we go to school to learn. We da da da. And in the griot family, you don't learn anything. The music you don't learn. The making them you don't learn. You just do it. And if you look at it, it doesn't look right. You redo it. Your dad can never come to you say, "Hey, put this here, put this here." The only thing he can do, you're doing something very wrong. For him to say no, change it. He just comes straight and knock on your head. Your dad doing something, he hear, that means it's wrong. The only time my dad will come to me and show me something is when he see that say I do something really, I do my best to make it look as he want, even if it doesn't perfect. They understand that yeah, if you never do it and you are doing it in the first place, it's never gonna be perfect.
Mm.
But they will let you. They want you to show them. You do your best. You do much as possible.
Yeah.
So for that point, they're not gonna open their mouth to say something, but they will come and show you exactly. Move this to here. Move this to here. So let's start with this one here. So I make this and I call it Gonikora.
Gonikora.
Yeah. And many people keeping asking me, what do I mean about Gonikora? The Gonikora is an instrument which 100% look like a kora. This one is a 16 strings. The Goni Kora, I made it with a tuning keys from the guitar and a wood, a hardwood, which I think is sapele, and an oak. These ones are oak. They hold it like these ones are oak. You got a gold skin on it, and you got a fishing line, which they use for fishing.
Okay.
And the back, you got the calabash, which look like pumpkin. So this is the Gonkora. It's a 16 strings made by me. And the bottom here, that is the Kora. And here, that is the Goni. So the Goni is definitely completely different instrument because the Goni only have the first Goni were 4 string to 6 string, which we call the donso, the hunters Goni, which they were only using that for ceremony when they go into the farm to hunt or the forest to hunt. They play some music, traditional music. They kill their animals. They pour the blood everywhere. They say we are going to the farm forest today. If we see a lion, please help us to be hidden for the lion to not able to attack. Please help us to attack the lion. Help
Yeah.
us for the lion to not have power, so that we make some things and they play the Goni. So that Goni were not allowed anywhere. Nobody allowed to use it anywhere at all. And the
Unless you're
young people
hunting.
say, okay, if these people make their instrument 4 to 6 string and they call it Donso Goni, we're gonna do something similar about more string. So they create a Goni, same thing, but they make 10 to 12, 12 to 14 strings. And they say Kamele Goni. And the Kamele Goni means the Goni of young people. So we are young, we make something, So yeah, they make that. So they tried to do 16 string out of the Goni, and it didn't work. The calabash were folding.
Does this have 14 strings?
This is a 16. Yeah, so let me give you an example here. So this is the example. This is one I've been working on. I didn't finish. So when you look at this here, you will see that the calabash it's not straight. We're breaking down because it's a folding. This is a full calabash, and this is the Goni. This is the camel Goni. So with this, if you do more than 14 strings, the calabash is gonna break. So what happened when the young people trying to put more string on this, the calabash starting folding, starting breaking. This part were breaking down.
Right.
And when it come all the way to the middle, it stopped. And they were like, oh, 16 string, and it go to the middle, it stopped. So they cut the middle off. And they built more string and it was still fine. So that is where the idea of the kora come from. So when they do more string, it cannot be playing as a Goni anymore. They had to find another note because it's a 21, 22 strings.
So it's the size of the kora in comparison then, the calabashi of the kora.
That is another good question. So here, I will give you an example on this here. This is the calabashes.
Yeah.
And you can see they are huge, they are big.
Yeah.
Which in the traditional kora, we got bigger than this. So normally when they came together, when you cut them on the tray, they came together like this.
Yeah.
They come full like that, and you have to cut it around to open it and take it inside out. So the traditional calabash is big. It's very huge because of the sound. Years back, we don't have speakers. We don't have any pickup to. So for the people to be able to hear you, you need a big calabash to get the sound out. So that is what we used to do. But now we're making small kora because we got pickup. You can plug it, and everyone can hear you. Like this one, I make it wireless, which I don't even need to plug. You just walk around the building and they hear you.
The kora, you said, does the kora have 21 strings or 22?
Wow. People still playing 22, some people still playing 21, but you see more 21 than 22. The first person who make the kora or who present the kora, he were playing 22 strings, which he were like, 22 strings. I don't know what note is it, because nowadays we got note on paper. In Africa, we don't have any music school. We just play what we hear.
Yeah.
So he used to play 22, and when he passed away, they take the first string, which is the top one. The first string, the top one is the bass. That is the last one on the top. They took it out. They bury him with it because obviously he's a man who like kora. He loved kora, and when he passed away, they cannot take the whole instrument and drop it on him. So They take one string out, they bury him with it to give the respect to him. So anyone who play the Kora 21, they still feel the respect of the person who passed away. But people who don't know the story, they play 22 string.
Wow, that's brilliant. So, out of
Yeah,
respect for the person who created the kora, they
yeah,
removed one string to be
yeah.
buried with him,
So
and,
man,
and continued that tradition.
yeah, you take the Kora with you, but we were gonna be playing the image of the Kora behind you. So they give him the Kora and we're playing the image. So the
Amazing.
Kora here now is the image, but the real Kora already go.
That's fantastic, Musa. Give us a little demo on that on your kora there.
Yeah. Kadie, 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 oh kadie. Ngo ne bi fe, kadie, kana mo wa kumala me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ngo ne bi fe, kadie, kana mo wa kumala me. There you go.
Love it, man. It's a
Yeah.
beauty. I can see why they call it the African harp. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
they're the African harp. This kora, I make it just the way I want it to sound. So right now, if you give this to anyone who call themselves a master kora player, they have no idea where to start. The kora have three strings here, which means it got three keys. One, two, three. And the first note starts on your right side. But this one, I make the note zigzag. It's only one here, one there, one here, one there. And when you go to the middle, it's no kora anymore. It turns to something else. But I can able to put these two instruments together and play them as one.
Wow.
Or if you want, like now, this is the normal way. The normal way to play it. But for me, I made it where I can turn it upside down. There
That's
you go.
that's the beauty of being able to build your own instruments.
I know.
Isn't
I'm
it?
so proud of it. I know people should be saying, Musa, we are proud of you, but I'm proud of myself. Because sometimes when I'm trying to create a music in the other way, I feel like, some note is missing. The point you turn it upside down, it's possible. So
Amazing.
the same thing with the balance I don't know. Let me see if I can bring the balance a bit forward. It's a journey when you decide to make the balance which you can see behind me here.
Yeah.
The balance made on hard wood, which we call African wood. And the African wood is it's like a way in my language we call it jalam. Jalam means it's a type of wood which is very hard and very expensive to buy. So all the keys, this is a balafon I finished here in the UK because obviously it's like 1 meter long, or maybe 1.5. So when the first time I was bringing balafon in the UK, they were thinking that I'm taking a suitcase, like a dead body from Africa to the country. So anyway, I were passing people, people didn't understand because they were inside the box. So I decided now to be doing the keys in Africa and bring it. And also to make the key, to make it sound louder and correctly, like in the right key, is a lot of journey. It's so much long journey to be doing. So here we call it the frame of the balafon, which is like a table. You put the balafon on it, and you can see
Hmm.
down there is low and up there is up. Based on the calabash we put on the bottom, the calabash are the speakers to
Hmm.
get the sound, the balafon sound louder.
The same that you use for the kora, right?
Yeah,
Just
the Cora
smaller.
is the same. This is the small one. So normally the small one in Africa, we use them as a spoon. So you use it to drink. You can use it for so many things, drinking tea out of it, everything. The main job of this instrument here is the key to get the sound right. It's a long journey. It can take a month
The
just to
tuning.
yeah, to tune it. But before make the key on the right side, you have to cut the key to the right side you want it. You have to sandpaper it, tune it in the first time, and then when you're happy with the note, You have to put them in the fire. Wow, when I say put in the fire, I mean heat it. So you make some small room, and it's like a barbecue. So you put the meat on the top and
Yeah.
the fire on the bottom. So same thing you do with the wood, and you have to do that for a week. And after a week, you take the keys out, you leave them out, put them outside in the air for them to freeze down, like cool down. And when they cool down, you don't touch them. You still leave them to the whole week. When they are proper cool down, now you take it again, you turn it to the sound you want it, and you sandpaper it again. When you finish sandpaper again, you check the notes.
Why do you have to heat it?
Because if you don't do that, you're always going to be out of key. So only to get it stay in one note, you have to hit it. Because normally, when you cut this wood, it doesn't matter how many years old is the wood. Because normally, we don't use a fresh wood. We always use an old wood, which like a falling. We don't cut the tree when it's fresh. We leave it to the tree fall on the floor. We take it when it's already on the ground and keep it for 2-3 years. So this is how I made this balance phone. I got one note, one black note, and the rest is white. So it sounds like this.
Yeah. I love it, Musa. I love it. So this is a fantastic instrument because it's obviously got so much years that go into making it, and the wood itself having to be in the right state. So once it's tuned, does it stay tuned or can it slip out of tune?
Wow. No, when you well, many people make this and they don't hit it like the way we do because they just think that it's a long journey to do. So they do it. They put it on the stand and they sell it. But usually, yeah, it definitely go out of key. Sometimes if you didn't hit it the key enough, they go out. I
Mm.
remember bringing so many balance phones because I used to ask people to make balance phones for me when I don't have time to do them, and all the time I had to redo them again on my own way. Had to
Mm.
like yeah. So I decided to just say, listen, it's enough. I need to go out there, get the wood and bring it and do it myself. So yeah, sometimes they get out of key,
Yeah.
and when that happens and you don't know what to do, nothing you can do about it. It's just buy
Amazing.
another one. Oh yeah, I'll
Yeah.
give it for yeah.
Musa, I mean, thank you so much for this interview. I've learned a lot. I love hearing
Yeah.
musicians talk about the origins and things, stuff that we don't know about, and I've learned a lot from this. But you do make instruments, don't you? So where can people get them? Is there a link that I should put? I'll put a link on the YouTube.
It's just when you type Koroleko shop or Koroleko simple, you will find me Koroleko.
We'll put the link in the description so that you make multiple instruments, don't you? I mean,
So many
choras,
different instruments. The
Bonnie.
djembes, you can see the drums behind the djembe drums, and I got so many type of djembe drums also. And I got bags for the drums, and I also have like it's so many African things. I got necklaces, bracelet, backpack, laptops, bags, and yeah, so many things. So it's
Amazing.
always something there.
Always something. You're always working, Musa.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the interview, and I hope we get you back to Muzikstan again
That
soon.
would be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, because
I cannot wait. I was saying that to myself. I say I hope this year I will find myself a lot of gigs, so many festival. Yeah.
absolutely. You have a great day, Musa.
Same to you.
Thank you very much and all the best.
All the best. Thank you. Salute. Bye bye.